Hey, welcome back. So, this being my first actually animated project, I did spend a little time off screen making sure that each of the proxy selectors was installed. It hadn't been before, but that was something I think off stream's fine. I also think something shorter, even punchier about this speed is even better. I think the shorter this becomes something where I still have enough to say over the whole span. Um, I think some learnings I have to take from this, just jumping into the deep end. I've watched a decent amount from again the P2 Design Academy. Great stuff. The animation course I think is even better than the rigging course. All the models and just step by step walking you through. You're not gonna sit through somebody's. You're not gonna only sit through things being sped up. You get a lot more, not feedback because he's not seeing what you've got, but there's a bit more thoughtful commentary, whereas this is just reflection. Again, happy to discuss both in the comments here in the Twitch chat if you ever want to drop by. Love to talk about this stuff, but in the case of just putting a bow on it, putting a bow on a stream, I think this is fine. So yeah, just to put into words what I think I learned most from this, you got to understand kind of the which bones direct others. And I think where I messed up here, I think you can get away with starting with the feet. I think the legs to hips are such a like 3-bone connection that you can start with an IK foot and then also be making modifications with the hips, getting back and forth with those. However, I will say what I'm noticing a lot and failing quite a bit is a good deal of the upper body is relying on those. You should start from the hips and build up. And where a lot of my posing starts to break down is when I think you can start by posing the hands, get them in a decent space, but I wouldn't worry about arms or shoulders until you've got those hips right. A lot of the rotation is going to come from the hips. And if you over-rotate, as I've done, and we can both see, if you over-rotate the shoulders too fast, you end up having to go back and recorrect things. So just understanding your rig, and if you're using AutoRig Pro like I am, I would definitely incentivize a lower body, kind of ignore it, but upper body, start at the hips and move upwards as you're building the poses. Another thing that P2 Design shows a lot is you can hide bits of the body, which is something that is not implemented at all with me at this moment. Would be interesting to see if I could get that implemented. That's a bit above my pay grade at the moment, but it would be interesting. It would help isolate groups. Yeah. Additionally, I think I did a decent job identifying keyframes. I'm hoping. When I play the GIF back, it looks pretty clean. There's obviously all the in-between still missing, but I'm aiming for some choppier animation. I think it complements the style I'm going for here. It's a mostly minimalistic with like pinches of detail. So I'm trying to reflect that also in how I actually animate the things. I will say I do think my posing, although once the actual thing is fully realized, the hands are still a big issue for me. I don't have a fist pose. I go this whole stream without making a fist pose. In fact, I think I stop with the only note left on my to-do. Not only, but the next thing being making a fist pose. But I do think between I really like this pose, is what I'm trying to say. I like how the hips feel, and from every angle, I'm kind of believing the kind of tension behind it. There's a lot of making sure that the volume kind of makes sense, and I'm trying to respect like center of mass. I'm considering making some like geometry node tools, both to assist with animation as well as like character design. I've got the Silver Way, and he discusses a lot of, for 2D animation, a lot of overlay that you can provide yourself when trying to make sure and check volumes and center of mass. And I think these things could very easily translate to something that, from just like the convex hull or similar in the geometry nodes, I could have a little, non-rendered, but while animating, especially in this left view, I think there's a good way potentially to draw like a line, a very visible representation as you're working with all these bones to consider where is my center of mass. A lot of these things I think become intuitive. Even in my, how long was this? In my 5 hours of doing this, first animation, hey, not the worst. Definitely some. I'm not going to be so bold to say that this is in any way perfect or great, but I had a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed matching poses. I am really excited to take this to the next step, both with the in-betweens, cleaning things up, and I'm so excited to start on the VFX, because I think that's going to incorporate the messy sculpting I'm pretty decent at, as well as some shaders that I'm even more overconfident about. So I'm really excited. One thing I don't think I internalized from any external source, but just in doing this, was the fact that you can duplicate the keyframes and then just erase all the posing from that keyframe. One thing, note to self, as I start back up either today or tomorrow, I did all of this on the primary control bones. What a mouthful. I started correcting some shapes with some secondary bones. However, down at the bottom where you see those keyframes and what's going to break the GIF that I ended up posting to my Twitter, you should follow me. But yeah, what ends up breaking the arms is that I don't match these keyframes with my secondary bones. And I went all the way through rendering, converting to a GIF, posting, and then I was watching it back a couple times. And here, you see the forearm of the punch. It still looks straight, but as I corrected some shapes in the very beginning, you'll notice the keyframes of these secondary controllers are not reflected, are not on all the same frames. Neither are they constant. They're not held as constant as I put the primaries. I would recommend, I believe the button's T when you're down there and you're selecting all the keyframes. Here I am trying to make the fist pose, and boy, is it fighting me. It is fighting me, and I think I keep clearing it and giving up, and then deciding to try and fix the wrist instead. And it's this fixing of the wrist that translates into the rest of the animation, because those are only on the secondary bones, and they're not keyframed as consistently. It's fine. I can go in, I can duplicate and clear those transforms, just make them line up. It will be fixed. It will be fine. It is currently broken. But this was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to keep going. Hey, thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more, you can get ahead of these videos and watch the VODs of the live streams. If you want to get ahead of those videos, you can tune into a live stream. I'm still ironing out a schedule to stream consistently. That's a stretch goal of mine at the moment. Working too much, working too hard. If this helped at all, leave a like, subscribe. That does a huge deal for me. If you'd like to see any part of this in more detail, slowed down and with greater degree of explanation, leave a comment. I've got the file on me. I'm happy to explore more detail. Better yet, again, come drop into a live stream. Catch me. Find me on Twitter, Ankara, same name, Cut Teeth. Thanks for watching.